Hey, welcome in to Stink Truth Podcast. Mark Schlereth alongside my partner, Mike Evans. Thank you guys so much for watching the show, for subscribing. Hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it, Mike. Great things going on this week. Had a fun week on our radio show, and good things are going on. What's going on with you?
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I have to give you some credit. I know.
Finally.
I can't believe
I'm getting the credit I
can't believe
deserve.
we're starting. But, on the course of this program, you've talked about the Vic Fangio effect, one of the top defensive coordinators in football. You've talked about the Fangio effect across the NFL. And I've always kind of rolled my eyes about it. Like, what is this Fangio effect you're talking about?
Who is this guy?
So, turns out you're real, and I did some digging into it. So, what we're finding in the NFL right now, folks, is that scoring is down. The last couple of years, scoring is down to levels that we haven't seen in over a decade. Part of the reason why is that defenses are playing this too high safety.
Correct.
That was really put into play by Fangio, and it's had its effect. The numbers bear it out. Scoring is down, completion percentage is up, but the yards per pass attempt are down. And even high-profile offensive coaches are acknowledging it. Sean McVay. It has been a big development over the last handful of years. Let's put a roof over the coverage. Try to keep things in front of you. Kyle Shanahan saying the same thing. Kevin O'Connell, as an offensive-minded offensive coordinator, went to Minnesota as the head coach, said he brought that too high safety Fangio effect to Minnesota because he said, quote, I wanted to run that defense in Minnesota because that original intent was to find ways to deceptively cause the quarterback to really play post-snap to try to figure out what the coverage is, but also the ability to put a roof over everything and not allow the ball to be thrown over your head. So it's the moral of the story is this, folks. Scoring is down. Defenses are taking away the big play, and they're daring you to beat you underneath.
Right. And I think that's where, when you look at what went on in the draft, Mike, this is where a lot of people sit and say, well, a guy like Bo Nix has the ability to fit perfectly with Sean Payton and attack defenses underneath because this is the way teams are playing defense. And ultimately, I've said this for a while, and I really got it from Kyle Shanahan, talking to Kyle Shanahan about the Fangio effect. Vic Fangio, as a matter of fact, you know who Kevin O'Connell brought to Minnesota with him his first year when he became the head coach was the longtime Fangio defensive assistant, Ed Donatel. Ed Donatel took over the defense first, and he's been, he worked with Fangio a ton at a bunch of different places. So that's the initial defense that he put in, that shell coverage. And here's the thing about it. Anytime you're playing a too high safety, first and foremost, if you're always in a too high safety, you're forcing the quarterback to read rotation, whether it's weak, whether it's strong or weak rotation, and what other coverages they get into, you're forcing them into a post-snap read. So you're always showing them, like, hey, man, we're showing you this umbrella that we're holding over the top of you, and we're not going to give you a tell early that you can go, okay, I got corners that are pressed, they're locked up, they're square, I got a single high safety, I got this rotation down, I know we're getting cover one. Right? I know that. All of a sudden, the corners, we got the same single high safety, but the corners back off, and they're tilted, butts toward the sideline. I know we're getting a cover three. Like all these indicators. Now you're throwing this shell, and you're saying, we're not going to tell you. We can keep the top over, we can keep the roof over the defense the whole time, but we can still have an ability to rotate out of that, right? So it's making the quarterbacks read post-snap. That's one big thing. The other thing is if we do that, we're forcing you as an offense to throw the ball, intermediate, short passing game, throw the ball, get a bunch of completions, and we're saying, can you put 8 to 12 plays together in the course of a drive and eat up yardage? And we're saying it's really hard. As long as we tackle well, at some point, you're going to get a holding call or an offsides penalty. You're going to put yourself behind the chains, and you're not going to be able to convert somewhere in this deal. And then ultimately, everybody plays a form of it down in the red zone. Why? Well, now all of a sudden, the safety's heels are not at 12 yards. They're at 8 yards, right? So if you hand the ball off, man, that safety on that side is going to run the alley when he gets his run indicator, he'll be 2 yards away from the line of scrimmage when that running back hits the line of scrimmage. So you're getting him, if you make the tackle, you're getting a 1 yard gain on that thing. So because you're actually playing when you get into the red zone, right, the 20-yard line in, you're literally getting you're getting everything as an 8-man front. Everything, because the safeties are playing so high. Because why? Because nobody can run over the top of our defense anyhow now because we got the end line. So I don't have to worry about my corners getting beat deep. It's not going to happen.
So this whole conversation is legit because it's not a coincidence. Scoring is down.
Right.
We're seeing less scoring. So it's real. So now the question becomes, what do you need out of your quarterback to combat this Fangio effect?
Well, so you've got to be on time. You've got to be incredibly accurate. You've got to have great ball placement. So if I'm throwing a little flat route, right? If I'm throwing a flat route and we're running flat curl or something, I've got to put it on the running back or the tight end who's running the flat in a place where he can catch it and turn and take a 3-yard completion and turn it into a 7-yard completion, put us in second down and 3. Like, I've got to have that type of accuracy. But part of the reason the scoring's down is because the NFL is stupid.
Okay. Keep going.
Okay. So
why are they stupid?
Well, because they've fallen victim to how do we score points? Oh, it's all about the quarterback. And, we got to get all these wide receivers. And, let's create spread offenses. And let's find tight ends that can't block anybody. But, boy, they can run routes. And let's make the fullback extinct. Like, the fullback has gone the way of the dodo bird. Let's get rid of the fullback. Let's get rid of 2-back sets, right? Let's spread everything out. Let's not have anybody connect to the line of scrimmage. Let's make sure we keep our tight ends open. You've fallen victim to your own stupidity in the National Football League. Man, I'll go back to my time in Denver with Mike Shanahan. And Mike Shanahan would literally be offended if you tried to play us in a too-high safety look. He would be offended. And he gets so angry. We used to secretly, we used to call him the Fire Marshal Bill because he always had this great tan, right? And then he'd get all red. They're going to play us in a 4-high? They're going to play us in a 2-high look? Are you kidding me? Well, fuck them, run them out of that 2-high look. He'd be like, we're going to fucking cram it down their goddamn throat, and we're going to he'd just go off. How dare you think you could play a 2-high safety look at us? We're going to get into 2-high. We're going to get into 12 personnel. We're going to get 22. We're going to jam it down your freaking throat, And he'd be all red and stuff, and you're like, oh shoot, we're going to kick their ass, But now nobody. They don't have the personnel. And the other thing that has happened to the NFL is, all this bullshit about, it's bullshit. Well, the short passing game is an extension of the run. No, it's not. It is not. It doesn't wear anybody's ass out. It doesn't make guys have to get off the ground. You don't cut people. We just throw it out there and everybody trots over there and makes a tackle. How does that wear a defense out? It doesn't. It's bullshit. It's something created by an offensive coordinator that wants to become a head coach and knows that throwing the football is like Viagra to 80-year-old owners. They're stiff as the day is long when you throw the ball from a quarterback position. Dude, you want to get teams out of a shell look playing quarters? Run it down their fucking throats. Put in a fucking fullback, put in a tailback, put in a tight end that can block people, and jam it down their throats. I guarantee you get a single high look when you do that.
So why don't they? Why don't
they? Because they can't.
But because scoring is down. This is not
right.
Old.
Because you know what? The points coming to the passing game, bullshit. Another thing, no, they don't. Points come when you wear a team's ass out and they no longer can defend in the passing game. If you don't tire anybody out, you know what happens? You're fresh as a pass rusher in the fourth quarter if you can't wear a team's ass out. You're fresh, and guess what? Then Aaron Donald makes a play at the end of a Super Bowl and wins. Why? Because you're not running the ball. You don't give a shit about that. People are stupid. The NFL is run by a bunch of morons.
Well, and it's funny, too, because Jonathan Gannon, head coach of the Cardinals, former defense coordinator with the Eagles, he said about all this, he said, quote, us defensive guys always laugh. You guys make the rules, we'll adapt and shut you out. And the NFL, the offensive guys aren't adapting. Because as you say, you could, but you choose not to.
Here's the thing. Like, college football is four wides. You know, if you have a tight end, he can't block his way out of a wet paper sack. And I get guys like you that say, I don't care if a tight end can't block. I just want him to run routes and catch the ball, right? Right. But the issue is that you've got to be able to block people. You know, one thing that doesn't go in and out of style is your ability to be physical. The other thing that has happened in this league is there's a lack of, like, Roger Goodell came up to me. I'm calling a Detroit game. It's like, boy, we got so many quarterback injuries. What are we going to do? I go, I don't know. Put your offensive line in pads and teach them how to block people, maybe. Maybe that's what you need to do. Ooh, what? I mean, you've got the most skilled position in football, offensive lineman. It's the taking a man from point A to point B against his will, who's is every bit as big as you, every bit as strong as you, but a better athlete, and moving him against his will. That's a skill that has to be worked on and developed. And if you don't have that skill, you know what you have to do? You have to pass protect all the time. And if I have to pass protect 40 times a game, somebody's quarterback's getting killed because we cannot hold up front. And you, as a league, you've developed this. You're the ones that have caused this. Now, all of a sudden, all you freaking morons are sitting back going, well, how are we going to get more scoring? Well, you're the dumbasses that made the fullback extinct. You're the dumbasses that created a spread football in the NFL. You're the dumbasses that said, you know what? We just want more money. So we won't allow you guys don't have to practice anymore. You don't have to put on pads. Oh, it's too rough. You know, and then, how are we gonna keep our quarterbacks healthy? I don't know. Maybe develop an offensive line that knows how to block people. Like you guys are so. It is mind-boggling to me how stupid the people who run this league are sometimes. Now listen, they know how to make money, and they're making plenty of it. And it continues to grow, but at some point, you're gonna have to, you've been dancing with the devil. You're gonna have to pay the piper.
Well,
pay the piper. Maybe get your dander up. Maybe bow your back. Maybe you're gonna have to gird your loins. You gird your loins. You gird your loins. I don't even know what that means, but I love it when you gird your loins.
There's definitely thrusting involved.
Yeah, there's no question.
So the NFL, they're adamant, right? They know that scoring equals interest and TV ratings, all that. So they don't like the scoring being as low as it's been the last couple of years. So they need to do something about it. They feel they need to do something about it. Seems like you've laid out the template for how you do it, get more scoring. Do you think they'll do that, adjust that way, or will they do something to adjust the rules or something like that to try to make it more offensive friendly?
Right. They'll try to change the rules to make it more offensive friendly, and then smart guys like Jonathan Gannon and other, coordinators will figure out how to circumvent those rules, and the offense will be hamstrung again. I'll tell you what. This is why I think Jim Harbaugh is going to come into this league and turn it on its head.
Why?
Because he's going to go back to 90s football. They are going to I'm telling you what. Show me a team that can dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides, and I'll show you a team that's going to win 85% of their games. And I promise you, they will dominate the line of scrimmage. Just like he did in college. Like, nobody had an answer. Like, hey, I hear all this stuff about Washington, national championship game. Oh, my gosh, Penix is so good. You see Penix play? Yeah, I saw him play in that national championship game. He got his ass kicked. Looked horrible. Yeah, but that was one game, and Michigan's a really good defense. Well, you think you're going to get worse defenses in the NFL? Is that what you think? Are you guys that stupid? Like, I mean, Michigan just ran roughshod through a bunch of spread teams that thought, that's the way that football. No, Jim Harbaugh said, no, you know what we're going to do? We're going to beat your ass on the line of scrimmage. Then what?
But that's college, because you got plenty of people looking at what Harbaugh's.
But college has taken this. There used to be this trickle down. NFL set the standard. It trickled down to college, which trickled down to high school. Now there's been a trickle up. Mm-hmm. It started in high school with spread, right? Then it trickled up into the college football ranks, and all these 7-on-7 teams. That's why everybody's a wide receiver or a quarterback, right? Because that's all they do. And then that has filtered up to the NFL, and people have gotten into, hey, man, all we're going to do is play an 11 personnel, and we're going to spread, and we're going to open up formations, and we're going to create this opportunity to use the short passing game as a substitute for the running game. Bullshit.
So because the argument against what Harbaugh is doing is, wait a minute, you got Justin Herbert, you got a superstar quarterback. Why are you taking away all his weapons? Why are you taking away Keenan Allen? Why are you taking away Mike Williams? Why are you taking away Austin Eckler? Why are you using your top pick on an offensive lineman?
Mm-hmm. Tip of the spear. That's what he said.
So what is he?
Offensive weapon.
So what is he?
Offensive
so
weapon.
Is he letting down Herbert?
Letting down Herbert?
Yeah.
No.
Got rid of all Herbert's weapons.
Yeah. How the Chargers been with all those weapons? Well, how they been?
Chargers going to Charger.
They've been garbage.
Yeah.
Garbage. He's going to introduce a new way of playing football to Justin Herbert. And you know what? Justin Herbert's going to thrive. And the Chargers will thrive. And then everybody, like bottom line is, Keenan Allen's a great player. He's a great player. He really is. He really is. But you've got a superstar quarterback. You know what you do? You create a balance. You create a running game. You take some pressure off of him. You open up the big plays into play action aspects as opposed to drop back. You design them based off the things you run. You marry this great running game and a dominant offensive line with your play action stuff. And you get people so worried about defending the run that they're out of position and they can't defend the pass. And then that's when the points come. That's when you have the big plays over the top. Red zone scoring is down. Why? Because all we do is throw the ball. It's mind-boggling to me when you watch red zone football, how many people don't know how to run the football? How many people don't have a plan? Like I said, man, the heels of your safety go from 12 yards to 8 yards in the red zone, whatever it is, whatever that math works out to be.
It's a lot of territory.
You're always playing. This is what people like people will always say to you, offensive coordinator types, drive me crazy. They'll say to you, like, hey, listen, we're getting a lot of 8-man front. Everybody's heard this. Everybody who has ever listened to football has heard this. Post-game press conference stuff. Getting a lot of 8-man front, we're not going to bang our heads against the wall. Free access to the outside, we're going to throw it.
Tough to run against a loaded box.
Tough to run against a loaded box. Yeah. All that. Do you know what when you get in the red zone, what you're running against the whole time? A loaded box. Just because the heels of the safety are at 8 yards, you know what? They're still in an 8-man front because that guy's 2 steps away from being at the line of scrimmage. So, you better know how to run against a loaded box. You better have a plan on how to run against a loaded box. You better have an ability to exploit, whether it's weak safety down or strong safety down. You better know how to do that. Because if you don't, you get in the red zone, guess what? You'll kick field goals. And Troy Aikman used to say this all the time. Every time you kick a field goal in the red zone, you're 3 points closer to losing. It's the way it works.
So would your message then, what you just said about Justin Herbert, would that be your message to Bills fans? Because I saw this out there. Mm-hmm. Are the Bills failing Josh Allen?
Are the Bills failing?
Failing. By, getting rid of Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs. Are they failing Josh Allen?
What'd you pay him for? What'd you pay Josh Allen for?
What'd you pay Justin Herbert for?
You paid him to lead your football team, and you paid him to make second-round receivers great. Now, the one issue that I'd have with the Bills is you guys want to play NFL football, you want to play college football. You want to play spread football, you want to condense some things. Like, that would be the one question I would have for the Buffalo Bills. But as far as because I think sometimes if we want to talk about the Bills failing Josh Allen, it has nothing to do with getting rid of receivers. I give a rip. Good riddance. Stephon Diggs, you'll probably be great for a year. And then you'll have your panties in a wad over something. Something won't be right. Somebody didn't give you enough love. Somebody's not giving you enough access. Somebody they didn't let you sleep through a meeting. Whatever your gripe is, because you'll have them. You've had them everywhere else you've been. You'll have them here too. So I'm sure you'll be, on your best behavior for a season. But in regards to Josh Allen, and in regards to the Bills, where they've let him down is too many times they go, okay, Josh, save us. Right? Go out there and win this one for us. And I'll go back to that Kansas City playoff game last year. They're dominating that game. They're running through the Kansas City Chiefs defense like shit through a goose. I mean, they are just running through it. Then what happens all of a sudden? Game gets a little tight. What do? They quit. They stop running the ball and they say, Josh, go win this for us. They place it all on his shoulders. That's where they're letting him down. Play calling standpoint, game planning standpoint, taking some pressure. Like when the pressure is on and the game is tight, that guy has to play from the high dive the entirety of the game. You never give him a breather play. And that's what a lot of coordinators, when I talk to coordinators, we talk about what do you do to give a guy a breather? And all you're trying to do is saying, hey man, on this particular play, this is a tank play. This is a call it and run it play. I don't want you to have to think. I don't want you to have to change the strength of the formation and worry about motion and worry about shifts and worry about I want you to snap the ball from under center, hand it to the running back, and then turn around and watch. Right? Take some mental and physical wear and tear off you, because I know all that mental and physical wear and tear will be on you every time we're in third down. But when the going gets tough, the Bills say it's all on you, Josh. Go. That's where they failed him. Not because they got rid of a receiver who's a diva and had his panties in a wad. That you can save that talk.
So while you do expect, especially if you've identified your quarterback as the guy, and certainly after you've paid the guy as your guy, you expect him to do more with less. But they still have to have, even the greatest quarterbacks have to have something. And I look at what the Chiefs have done here with Patrick Mahomes and signing Travis Kelce to an extension that makes him the highest paid tight end in the NFL for the next 2 years. Travis Kelce, do you worry about any kind of drop-off with him? Anything that's imminent? Or do you see somebody who is just still performing at an exceptionally high level and there shouldn't be any drop-off?
I still see somebody who's playing at an exceptionally high level, and as his athleticism diminishes over time, which that happens to all of us, unless you're the world's greatest American Tom Brady, because then you get more
to age.
Then you get more athletic.
Yes.
But that dude just makes up for it with his knowledge and understanding of the game, ability to get open, and. I was talking to Matt Nagy probably last summer, who's the offensive coordinator in Kansas City. I just basically say, hey, listen, man, the guy, what was he last year, 34? The guy works, plays, practices like none other. And over the last, eight seasons or so, whatever it was, he gave me some statistic. You always got to be careful when coaches will do this all the time. They'll give you a statistic in a meeting, like in a production meeting, and then you'll go look at the statistic, and it's never right. It's ish. You just got to throw an ish on the end.
Yes.
If a coach tells you something statistically, you got to throw an ish on it.
Yes, it's
if you're going to use it
in the ballpark.
Yeah.
But
he's like, hey, Travis Kelce, if you look at all the tight ends that have come in since 19 whatever, like in the last 7-8 years, he's got over 1,000 snaps more than any tight end. Never misses a practice, busts his ass in practice, works all the time. Is like, guy is truly will go down as one of, if not, well, statistically he'll go down as, especially playoff time, the greatest tight end in history.
Ooh, I got one then for you. Actually, this works out perfectly because we get questions for you from the great viewers out there. One of the questions that I was going to bring up, I'll bring it up now. In your opinion, who's the best tight end ever?
Man, I mean, that, you go back in the day with some of the, like Dave Casper and Russ Francis.
Kellen Winslow.
Kellen Winslow was freaking unbelievable. Mark Bavaro, great. Tony Gonzalez, unbelievable. My teammate, Shannon Sharp.
More recent vintage, Rob Gronkowski, Travis Kelce. So you got one game to win. And you can have any tight end from history in his prime. Who you taking?
Gronk.
I had a feeling you were going to say him.
Gronk would just destroy people on the line of scrimmage in the run game and then run people over. He just was to me, he's probably the most complete tight end. But, man, there's some good ones out there. There's some really – and the position, has just become – it just becomes such an important – like if you don't have one – because the game, in the NFL is really played in the middle of the football field. And those guys controlling safeties and doing what they do and catching balls in traffic and all that kind of stuff, you just got to have one.
I got to get your thoughts on this one because I heard somebody say it. I'm like, nah, that can't be real. But it's kind of trending. Jaylen Warren, running back with the Steelers, kind of let out some information that the Steelers are thinking of using Justin Fields as a returner with these new look rules for the kickoff game that you have to have two guys back. And the idea being, hey, you want somebody who's really athletic, someone who can run? Why not put Justin Fields back there, especially if he's not going to be the starting quarterback, especially if he's going to be playing behind Russell Wilson? Might as well get some value for him. Put him back out there on kickoff returns.
What does that tell you about how much you consider him your quarterback? Come on, like that. There's zero chance that happening, right?
Right.
Zero chance.
You can't find some really good athlete as the 53rd guy on your roster,
right,
who could use that role on game day.
Well, if you're Justin Fields, I mean, and you hear that news out there, you're like, really?
Hey, Baker Mayfield was lining up as a scout team defensive end. His final days with Carolina.
Yeah, well, that shows you what they thought of him as a quarterback, right? Dude, I mean, come on, really? Like, really? Like, what kind of conversation do you have? I had that when I came to Denver. I might have been the worst. My rookie year, Washington tried to make me a deep snapper, because I could run, and I might have been the worst deep snapper in the history of deep snapping. Just awful. I could tell you some stories about deep snapping. Rolf Mosienko, where I got his ankle twisted really bad. I thought I was going to get cut. I mean, I got all kinds of stories. But
how'd you almost get a guy? How'd you twist the guy's ankle?
Well, I was on IR, and we're not supposed to be on the field, right? And so my rookie year, they could put you on IR. I was on IR for the first 6 weeks. So all I was doing was lifting. I was huge, and I couldn't be on the practice field. So I'm out there with a buddy of mine that played with here, Ralph Tam, and they're working on some stuff. And Ralph goes, "Let's go out and snap to Ralph." I'm I'm like, no, I don't. He goes, no, come on. So he's out there. Hey, the special teams coach Wayne Severe. He goes, you want me to? He's like, want me to snap? And yeah, give us some snaps. So he snapped. He just fired some back, and Wayne is standing on the side of Rolf, and Rolf is working on some. We had different, we had rocket right, low line drive. You try to drive it really fast over the, over the head of the. These punters could do a lot of different stuff, right? So Ralph Tam snaps a couple back to Moshienko, perfect, and da-da-da. And Wayne goes, okay, go in there, Stink. You throw one back. All right. So I had this unbelievable ability to throw a curveball. I don't know how. It wasn't intended.
Right.
So that thing would go straight as an arrow for about 8 yards and just go. So I kid you not. Snap it back there, first snap. Rolf jumps over, steps on the foot of Wayne Severe, who's like 4 yards away from him, right? Rolls his ankle. And has to get carted off the practice field on a Friday.
Oh, no.
We're playing the Giants in the Meadowlands, on Sunday. So walk in, they cart him off and take him into the training room.
And you're a rookie?
I'm a rookie.
Oh, God.
And I'm not supposed to be on the field, right? It's illegal to be on the field at the time. So I go in the training room, and Wayne Severe, our special team, God rest his soul, he was great. He is fuming, right? Just so angry. And I walk in and check on Rolf, and Wayne just walks right by me and just gives me the death stare. And Moshienko's ankles like that. It's already
He's
black
the kicker.
and blue. He's the punter. Yes.
Oh, the punter. Right.
His ankles like that big, black, and it's over, right? And I'll never forget. I left, and I'm like, I'm getting cut. There's no way I'm going to survive this. And we had our actual snapper was a kid by the name of Dave Harbor. And Dave comes over to where I'm living, and he goes, "Hey man, we're going to this charity powder puff game. Come with me." I'm like, "Dude, I was packing my bags. I was literally packing my bags. I was like, I had a duffel bag, I had nothing. Like I was a rookie out of Idaho. I had a duffel bag, so I'm packing stuff up because, and my roommate was Ralph Tam. He's like, I'm getting cut. He goes, yeah, you're gonna get cut.
Oh, jeez.
Just like. Yeah, it's gonna happen. So Dave comes over and goes, screw it. What's gonna happen? They cut you, so what? You'll be all right. You're a good player. You'll land on your feet. So he goes, come to this powder puff game with me. So he took me out. And the next day the next day was Saturday. So they traveled and I didn't travel. So I sat there the whole weekend thinking I'm going to get cut. Oh. And on Sunday, Ralph is in there punting. And the first punt he hits against the Giants was like a 70-yard just rocket. And then I was like, I breathed a little bit of sigh of relief, and nobody said anything to me. Not one, because it was illegal for me to be on the field. So if they'd have cut me, they'd have gotten in a bunch of trouble, right? And so Wayne eventually said, "Hey man, that's my fault. I should never had you on the field, and I'm too old to get out of the way." And but yeah, I thought I was gonna get
Gibbs
dumped.
ever say anything? Joe Gibbs ever say anything?
Joe Gibbs never mentioned it.
No?
Nobody ever mentioned it.
Wow.
Yeah, nobody ever. And then a few weeks later, I became the starter, and ended up playing. The rest of the season.
And was that the last time you ever snapped?
Yeah, but when I came to Denver, we had a coach by the name of Richard Smith, still coaching the league, closest linebackers. And we used to go to a special teams meeting just to listen to him butcher the English language. He'd be like, "You got to run down there. You're running down there, and you're completely oblivious to what the fuck's going on."
Not oblivious,
no,
just oblivious.
He'd butcher that one. He'd go all the time. He would always have. He just, like I said, he just butchered the English language. So he came up to me and said, "Hey man, I want you to deep snap." And when I signed here, and I signed here to be a starting guard, and he said, "Hey, I want you to come out early and deep snap." And I just looked at him. I said, "No." And he goes, No. I'm serious." He goes, "I want you to come out and and throw some snaps back." And I said, "Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that." And he just was baffled.
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, seriously, He goes, I need you to come out here. You like, this could add years to your career. And I go, yeah, I've been starting for 7 years now, and I'm not really interested in adding years to my career. I go, I'm horrible at it, or hurts my elbows, and I'm not going to do it.
And I nearly got my punter killed.
Yes,
the last time. So
let me tell
I'm
you,
still scarred.
Let me tell you this story.
Why don't you go talk to my other guy here?
Let me just get Ralph Moshienko on the phone.
Yeah, and then you'll change your mind real quick. So
absolutely
good stuff. Love story time with Stink.
All right,
nobody tells a story better than Stink. Everybody.
And we didn't even get to. I want to get to this. By the way, we'll do this next time.
Yes,
we'll do this next time. I got in a couple Twitter battles with Twitter idiots or ex-idiots that think that arm strength is the defining character of any quarterback, and if you don't have the greatest arm strength in the world, you will not play in the NFL. And I want to debunk that myth. We'll do that next time. How about that?
Especially after we just talked about that Fangio thing. I just kind of wonder how much having a hose for an arm really matters now in today's NFL.
We'll do that as well. Hey, for everybody involved in the Stink Truth podcast, thank you so much for being a part of the show. We really do appreciate you, and we will be back next week. And again, thank you guys, because our numbers are just skyrocketing, and it's all because of you guys. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends. Please share it on social media. We appreciate you all, and we'll be back with you guys earlier next week. Yeah, it makes sense. All right, later. Hey, for everybody involved in the Stinky Truth, we thank you so much. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel for more content just like this. If you want to see more of our videos, you can also be sure to check out our playlist. Let us know exactly what you think in the comments below. We appreciate you guys so much for being a part of that.
Don't forget to follow us on social media to stay up to date on our latest updates. Links are in the description. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.